Yo, what up, YouTube? What up, UFC fans? Whether you like it or not, George St-Pierre had a tremendous performance off a 19-month layoff versus Carlos Condit. But to see him respond to the question of a potential Anderson Silva fight after his victory, and to see him duck the Anderson Silva question when asked, does he want to take a potential chance and fight Anderson Silva later in the year, he responded by saying, I need to go on a vacation, talk to my manager and team about it, and see if that's the right decision. That sounds like ducking one way or the other. There's no way you can put it where he's not ducking the fight. That is an absolute duck. To say, I gotta think about it with my team, because we don't know if that's the right decision. We don't know if getting the biggest money you've ever made in your entire career is the right decision. You don't know if challenging yourself, fighting someone that will actually give you more prestige than ever. He can keep on beating up the UFC welterweight division. It's like Anderson Silva. He can keep on beating up the UFC middleweight division, which is pretty much non-existent. The only other contender out there is Bisping, and the other guys are like nothing. And we all know Anderson Silva would walk through a Michael Bisping. So what's left for him to do? We got GSP down there. Dana White has offered Anderson Silva to come down in weight. He doesn't have to come down. Y'all, do you understand that when a fighter who normally fights at 180 and who's moved up before, for him to come down in weight is actually a huge disadvantage? Just to sweat off, say 7 or 8 pounds that he might not have to sweat off. That is absolutely ridiculous. But Anderson Silva's willing to do it at a catch weight. Why the fuck not? Why not test yourself? I'll tell you why. Because look at fucking GSP's face. Consider that is what he looked like after the Carlos Condit fight. Imagine what he would look like after Anderson Silva. Consider, GSP, in my opinion, his kryptonite is someone with a great takedown defense and great striking skills. What's Anderson Silva? One of the best athletes in the UFC with tremendous takedown defense, and he's the best striker in the UFC. He would probably pick apart GSP. Like Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao might say he wants the fight, but his promoter wants nothing to do with it. Because it's my opinion that Bob Arum thinks Manny Pacquiao will get knocked the fuck out. And in my opinion, I think George knows he doesn't have much of a chance to beat Anderson Silva. Although it's a mega fight, to see him duck that question only confirms my thoughts that he's ducking Anderson Silva. And we even saw Dana White sort of backtrack on his statements already after the fight by saying, you know what, GSP, he might need another fight. He might need another fight before we match him up with Anderson Silva, It's absolutely ridiculous. By ducking this fight, he's ducking the biggest payday in his UFC career and the biggest fight in MMA history. He's ducking out of that. And, for fans to say, this fight, it shouldn't happen, because, just some of the bullshit that you see on MMA websites highlighting fans' thoughts that this fight shouldn't happen is absolutely ridiculous. UFC needs a mega fight. Pay-per-view numbers are down. Stephan Bonner versus Anderson Silva only did 400K. Who knows what the pay-per-view buys on this? But just consider in terms of a business perspective. The buys aren't going up if GSP's fighting these contenders, contenders no one really knows about. That's why this fight between GSP and Silva has casual fan appeal, and it has mega marketing appeal to hit way over 1 million pay-per-view buys. That's ultimately what the UFC wants, and for them not to make the fight makes zero sense at all. It makes all the sense in the world, but the fighters have to agree on certain things, like weight. Just consider moving down in weight is a huge disadvantage. If any of you watch boxing, consider Chad Dawson, who was a light heavyweight champion. He agreed to drop 7 pounds to the super middleweight limit of 168 pounds to fight Andre Ward, and he got demolished. A lot of that seemed to be about dropping 7 pounds. That's approximately the amount that Anderson Silva would have to drop. So, to me, I see this as a fair trade. Anderson Silva has a weight advantage, but he's got to cut 7 more pounds. And it's much easier to go up in weight than down in weight. Hence, Anderson Silva going up and destroying guys like Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin. It's much easier to go up in weight than down. And I don't think you guys see the advantage George St-Pierre has. To have a drained Anderson Silva in front of him in a cage, and he's still ducking from the fight. And if you don't think he's ducking, watch the post-fight interview Joe Rogan does. He clearly does not even want to mention Anderson Silva. He just wants to say he's the best welterweight, and apparently he's happy with that. But my opinion is he's ducking Anderson Silva. So let me know what you guys think. It is what it is, guys. Peace out, take care.